Hello, my name's Aaron Yeager. I'm with Grain Bags Canada. We're a distributor for grain bagging equipment and bags. At this time, we're going to show you a little about the in and out of grain bagging, some pros, some cons. At the time here, we're just going to try to educate you a little bit on the proper operation of grain bagging equipment. As we're going here, we're going to start out with our grain bags. We actually have different sizes of bags. There's 9-foot, 10-foot bags. They range anywhere from 8,000 bushels up to roughly 20,000, depending on the unit. Bags right now are made in different countries and different suppliers. The bags that we have here are from Ipiza. They're a company out of Argentina. They're one of the forerunners in bags, if not the leader. And I guess right now what I'll show you is they've taken a lot of effort into not only making the bags of quality, but even the packaging has a reason and a purpose. And right here on this here box, we have indicators that'll tell you the proper way to put the bag on. We actually have a gauge for measuring the bag so that we know exactly how much stretch we're going to have with it. It actually tells us other part on the box where the bag should be started. And in this corner here, it shows to have it off to the side. We've already prepared one bag here, so it's sitting off to the side here. In a few minutes here, we're going to pull it and stretch it and put it on, or lift it and put it on our cradle, and then we're going to put it onto the bagger. The bagger is the first component of the actual machinery that we use for bagging. It actually has a cradle, which the bag gets put on. It's a very simple operating machine. It lifts it, puts it over top. We don't have to slide it off with this particular unit. We'll slide the bag in underneath, and then when we get going, before we actually get going, we're going to pull some of this plastic off. You're going to see our technicians are going to actually heat seal the bag on the back end so that we have a resistance point for the grain when it enters the bag. When we get up to here, you're going to see right in here we have an auger assembly, and with this auger assembly, what we have is, there's different units out there, but this particular company's unit has a very shallow extension into here, doing peas, certain materials that could crack easily. By having this short extension, we don't get cracking. It's very important in grain bagging. Most of the companies now are building this. It's a very, very good system from all of them. The next thing onto this unit here, as we go, we have the brake system. It's a hydraulic system that actually, the oil is pushed and compressed to create pressure on the calipers. It helps us as when we get going, we actually put the grain into the bag, and as we're going, we'll actually get the bag to stretch. And as it stretches, we will determine the amount of grain that's going in. We will actually set the plastic stretch. The next step of bagging is the actual putting the bag on. We've actually taken it out of the box. We collapsed the sides on it before in a previous. Now the fellows are actually going to put the bag on the cradle. Okay. As you can see, we have a mark here on this bag. It's very important. We're going to try and get it about 10 to 11 o'clock position. Okay. Okay. We'll do it for the moment. Okay, what we do, we just lay it up there right now. It's not real neat. You can see when we lift here, we'll do some adjusting to make sure the bag is in the right location. Okay, the bag is going to go right over top on the cradle. We're going to feed this bag along the sides here. We're always going to try and keep our folds as neat as possible If we have one sticking out, we're going to slide it in a little bit farther, because any fold that's protruding is going to give it an opportunity to grab in two places, and it can make a real problem for putting bags on. Okay. Okay. There we go. There we go. Yep. Ready? Yep.
What are you using?
There we go. Here's our string, should be gone on over. Okay, what's happening here? We're just sliding the bag on. We got it on over here, and we're going to have to pull it on from the other side a little bit and get it lifted. Hang on, guys. Okay, I'll come around there. Okay, the biggest part about this right now is with the bag on, we try to make sure that all these folds are pulled back. We can go up on top and pull it in. There we go. We got her. That one has to be in more. Right here. Okay. Okay. Okay, at this point, what we've tried to do is get the bag on. We wanted it slid past the cradle blocker. And what this will actually do, once we pull some bag out, it will only let one layer come at a time. Okay, fellas?
Oh, just a minute.
Now what our fellow is doing is going down to the fifth last layer and putting a mark there so that when we get to the bag end, we don't go too far and have bag that we can't fill. Okay, right now what we're going to do is we're going to seal this bag up, and get it prepped for putting grain in the bag. What we did before here is we had put the bag on, left it down a bit. It should actually be higher. There is ways of correcting it. Rather than taking the bag off, what people will do is actually where the top line is, we will measure, put a felt mark on one, measure 10 inches, put another felt mark, and when we actually go to fill the bag, we can actually just measure the distance in between, and if we have a 10% increase, meaning 11 inches, we're set properly. And it happens quite often. So it's an easy fix and one that does happen quite often. Okay. Now what we're going to actually do, the fellows here are actually, we're going to use our heat sealer, and we're going to crimp this bag, and we're actually going to melt the bag together. 1 second, fellows. I want to see if there's something right here. No. Maybe go beyond it.
Okay.
There, that'll be good enough. You'll get it. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, should be good. Yep. You can see here where we've actually melted the bag together, and we're going to do a double line crimp.
Yep.
2, 3, 4, 5. Good. You can go about 10 on them, Len. This system actually, with the heat seal on there, enables us at the end when we're extracting to be able to pull the bag right tight up, and there'll be very little cleanup at the end of the bag. Oh, good. And what we also do is we do a double line. We'll do it once here, one more time down it to give it an extra layer of protection. Once we've sealed this bag, we'll actually roll the bag on the end. We'll do 2 complete rolls, and then we'll draw it underneath by about 2 feet. You'll see this overlap that we do so that when the grain goes in, it actually doesn't overlap on the bag so that no water or rain can get into it. I'll pull it tight on you. A little hot here, Len. A little too hot.
Machine's getting hotter.
Yeah.
Yep. After cut off to 6, I went to 8. Really. 5, 6.
Don't go in the same spot. I'll get one here, back here, okay?
Should hold.
Right here.
Same spot?
No, go a little farther in.
Further in? Yeah. 6. See, that timer's not.
That's good.
That timer's not cutting out. Perfect.
Yeah, good enough. Okay.
Now.
Okay, what we're going to do now, fellas, is we're actually going to roll this bag, get it ready for the tuck, and then we're going to start filling it. Okay. We're going to move that bag out of there too quick, okay? Okay, you want to go in the middle there, Eugene? Okay. Now actually what we're going to do is we're going to do a roll. We're going to get at least 2 good rolls on it. We'll go a little farther. We got a lot of plastic out here. That's good. Then we're going to go back. We're going to grab back about 2.5 feet. At least that, fellas, we got lots of plastic out. The next thing we're going to do here is we're actually going to put the bungee cord on. And what it actually does is it keeps the bag from actually letting multiple layers come off at one time. We come up, as we can see here, we've got probably about 40 layers piled up. We're actually going to pull our bungee cord over that it'll sit on possibly 1 or 2 layers. As we get going, it'll go down to a single layer. There you go. You got her there, guys? On this unit, underneath on this thing, they call this part of the equipment is called a pan. There's actually a catch on it where we can catch this hook on, and that'll be the mounting point. We have one on each side. As you can see, we've got multiple layers up here and single layering down to here. That won't even be bad. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. There. We're actually zigzagging this bungee cord, and what it actually keeps is it keeps the bag from actually, or the cord from actually being pulled off the back end. Okay. All right, we'll go around. I will go around and make sure that everything's tucked into its right position. Is it up and over? There we go. Okay. Okay, right now I'm going to show you on this unit here, we have a hinged pan here. When we put the bag on, this pan was down below and actually it enabled us to put the bag on very easily. Now what we've actually done is we've got the bag all on in place. We tighten this pan up. It's on a cable linkage system here, hinged. So what we actually do is we pull it up and we actually get it so that we can slide our hand in between the bottom of the upper part of this pan and the tunnel itself. And from then on, it'll actually only feed 1 layer of plastic at a time. Also at this time, we put this bag on. This is the indicator right here that shows the stretch that we will require for the bag. Actually, at the present time, it is 40 centimeters. When we actually fill it with grain, we will try to get it to 44 centimeters. If we go over the 44 centimeters, we will actually release brake pressure. If we're below 44 centimeters, we will add pressure. And what that does is creates resistance and makes the bag stretch just a little bit more. In this circumstance here, just to show you, we actually put this bag on where it's out of position. So here we're able to mark at a level up here. You can put a mark with a felt marker, put one mark here, measure 10 inches, put another mark on, and then when you fill the bag, you can actually stretch it to 11. That'll be a 10% stretch, which you shouldn't exceed. Okay, now the next process we're going about here is we're going to start loading the bag with grain. The fellows will engage the PTO. We have fellows holding the corners down because the grain will push through. Our fellow now will start the PTO on the tractor. He will engage the chute on the grain cart, and we'll have a volume of grain coming in. As we go here, the grain will come through, drop into the hopper, come through on the auger assembly, and actually drop into the bag. The tractor is set in neutral, operating the grain bagger, and what will happen is it'll actually, once the grain is up to a level that is creating pressure on the bag, it'll actually push the tractor ahead. We will actually set the pressure of the brake with the wheel assembly control. As you can see now, the actual bagger is being pushed. Once we get it to the point where it starts to level off, the boys will check the tension on the bag, and they'll actually increase or decrease the pressure. The fellow just checked the pressure, the stretch on the bag. And it fell into the guideline of 44 centimeters. We're good to go. And then soon we will proceed with the extraction process. Actually here we had put the mark down below too low before, so we wanted to show you how you can fix it. We actually marked 10 inches on the bag before we filled it. Then actually now, once we filled it, you can see the two marks. That would have been 10 inches. Now when we measure it, it's 11, exactly where it should be. And actually here, down here, when you get to these lower levels, it'll actually show a different stretch sometimes. And it's very important to have it up at this height so you get the proper stretch. Okay? By having it down here, it's going to overstretch and it isn't going to show the real value of it. Down here, it would be right now starting out at 15 3/4 inches. And when we measure the stretch, it will actually, to be proper, it would be 17 inches. Okay? That's got her. Actually, the fellows have separated the bag from the bagger. We leave about 5 feet of extra bag so we can attach it to the extractor when we back the extractor up to it. Okay, what we're doing here now is we're actually hooking the extractor onto the bag. Where we had cut it off, we actually made a slit at roughly the 11 o'clock position. We're actually going to reach this bag up now. It comes around the auger assembly up before the grain positioner, and actually we hook it onto this here roller. As you can see, we've got protrusions there, iron protrusions that actually hold the bag. but you might have to back up a little more.
My side.
Okay, we'll get this on there first. We'll get it in a minute there. Okay, good enough. Okay, now that we've got the bag, we actually put it on the roller here. There was the prongs that were sticking out. We attached it to it. We rolled the back up until we had tension on it. The actual grain positioner we have here, we have an extension down below here that actually we will protrude out, and it'll be a guide for actually the bag to come up. It enables us to get most of the grain loaded before we ever have to start lifting it. So it gives the bag an option to not be tore off, okay? Right now we're going to start her up and we will get it augering out. There's a cross auger inside here that pulls it to a center, and the center it pulls it up to the top of the grain cart. It's very much similar to the hopper of a grain combine. It actually pulls it to a sump and away we go. Okay, fellas, let's start her up and let's get her going. You got your positioner? Okay, now what we're actually doing is the roller on the grain extractor is rolling, and it is pulling the tractor and the extractor back. And as we do that, if you look in the top, you can see the grain going into the grain cart up above. The actual tractor is in neutral. The operator's main job is just to keep it straight. As we are going here, you can see that the actual tractor is being pulled back now. On the bottom, we have a hydraulic ram that is working the grain positioner. It actually extends out and works as a guide, as I said before. It pulls all the grain from the sides to the center, and we will go right down to the very end and pull it through. The actual power requirements for this extractor are roughly 110, 120 horsepower. It has the capacity of approximately 300 tons per hour. As you can see, it is pulling it backwards. There's a clutch on the left-hand side, which enables us at the end to freewheel the bag and unravel it. As we're going here, you can see the roller rolling the bag up. As we go, we decrease the speed on the roller. It is hydrostatically controlled. So as the roller gets bigger, we actually have to turn down the speed of it. The key of the operation is to keep the tractor straight and the extractor running down the center of the bag. With this system, we're actually able to pull all the grain right out of the bag. Let's wait one more. Okay, we've given you a glimpse of what happens in the grain extracting. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to suck this bag right tight. At the end of the bag, there'll be approximately a bushel, 2 bushels left in it. This here nice system cuts the bag up to here. This auger would actually, the roller auger would pull it all forward and wrap up around the extrusion augers, and that's where we're capable of getting all the grain out. We have no gearbox below the levels of the auger, so we're able to get right down to the ground. Another thing at the end now, when we're totally empty, we will put this clutch right here into freewheel. First we'll back it off a little bit so there's no tension on it. Then we will actually pull this clutch, do a turn, and we can freewheel this bag right off. This, I hope, provides you with a pretty good glimpse of how grain bagging and extracting is done. Thank you.